In our Lenten series on Wednesday, we spent some time imagining what it might have been like to be one of the people in the crowd that day as Jesus approached Jerusalem. And I have their permission to share some of their thoughts, and some they will recognize and some they will wonder what I did to them. But we were using our gift of imagination to be part of the scene, since the Bible doesn't give us any details, really. So I'd like to imagine that you are in the crowd. You might think about who you are and what you are thinking while this procession is going on. The sun is bright and hot. The road is rocky and dusty. Jesus is approaching the Damascus gate to Jerusalem with a crowd. First, Jesus sends the disciple ahead to get the donkeys. And the disciple's a bit worried that the owner might think he is stealing them. And it's true, the owner demands to know what he's doing and asks all sorts of questions like, how and when will she get the donkey back? And then she starts to explain how to handle the donkey, and that the mother has to stay close to the colt, and the disciple cuts her off. I have to take them to the Lord. The Lord will send them back, don't worry. So the donkey's owner lets her animals go, but she's curious about their Jesus. She starts to follow the disciple and sees the crowds growing. She's conflicted and confused. She's glad she gave the donkeys, but not sure why he needed them. She sees the city in turmoil and notices the soldier standing watch at the top of the wall above the gate. The donkey's owner notices some people in the crowd are hanging back. Everyone isn't cheering. She thinks she must be for Jesus, since she let the donkeys go. She's not sure if he's all in. Now, a young tree pruner runs a little ahead of the crowd. She's got a strong knife, and she quickly lays down a carpet of tree branches on the dusty ground so the cloaks don't get dusty. She takes every branch she can find, palms and cedar, sycamore and pine. Her path directs the crowd towards the gate and gives Jesus and the disciples space to walk. Somehow the crowds know to stay off the red carpet of branches and cloaks. Now the crowd closest to Jesus includes Mary and Martha, Lazarus, and his disciples. Alongside them, there's the Samaritan woman and some people from her village. The man born blind who can now see. He's there with his neighbors and parents, and a great crowd of people from outside Jerusalem who have followed in. They've been cheering the whole way, excited and happy. There's a sense of energy as the crowd gets bigger and bigger. One of them feels like his head will hit the ceiling from excitement. Tomorrow he will lose his voice from all the shouting, but today he's one of the loudest in the crowd. The normally practical and serious Martha is singing joyfully and praising and smiling at everyone. Another fan has counted the disciples and found the number 12, the number of Jacob's sons. She is the one who started the chant, Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest heaven. And all the crowd has taken up that chant. Now a bystander is watching all the people getting caught up in the parade. He's happy but confused. He wonders what is going on and what is going to happen next. Who is this Jesus? An artisan is near the gate with her jewelry and pottery wagon. She hears the crowd approaching and she can't help but get caught up in the excitement. She's not a believer, but she's fascinated that this important person who comes in the name of the Lord isn't wearing fancy robes, and he's riding on a donkey. She wants to get close to see who he is and what's so special about him. Now, the sheepskin trader is more cautious. She was approaching the gate with her sheepskins to set up her booth. She notices the Roman guards on high alert. She has heard of Jesus, but she has sheep. There is concern in sheep trader circles. This Jesus is getting too much attention. It's not safe anymore. It might interfere with their trade. And if he's a prophet, she thinks he's really getting the wrong kind of attention. It's not going to end well. Fearful about what's going to happen next, she steps aside and lets the crowd sweep past her. Nicodemus, the secret disciple who had come to Jesus in the dark, hangs back, watching the crowd. Can this really be happening, he wonders? He wants to be out in the crowd, but he is afraid someone will see him. He's afraid he might be fired from his position or arrested. And then who would feed his family? But he wonders, will Jesus forgive him if he holds back in the shadows? Now, many in this crowd are caught up in the excitement just because they love a spectacle. They've heard that this Jesus might be someone important, but also he might be arrested and executed. And to be honest, they love a good execution even more than a good parade. They don't really care who is who. They just love excitement and spectacle in their rather hard lives. It promises to be an exciting weekend. On the high wall, a Roman centurion watches the crowd carefully. He's on high alert with his legion. He glances at the centurion beside him, both of them dressed for battle with shields and swords, in case they are called to break up the crowd. He actually doesn't know what the Jews are cheering about this time, and he doesn't really care. He just doesn't want to get hurt dealing with his mom. The sun is hot, and he looks forward to a cold drink, but by the look of things, this is going to be a difficult weekend. In his palace, Pontius Pilate receives reports of the growing crowd at the Damascus gate, and he sighed. He realizes that this Jesus character is going to cause trouble of some sort, and that he, Pilate, will be the one who has to deal with it. He wishes he and his wife could have retired to his villa near Rome before this day. Every part of governing this territory, the dust, the hot sun, the hostile local people, trying to collect enough taxes to satisfy Rome, everything has been difficult here. He wonders how long before his reinforcements, cavalry and soldiers, arrive. Above all, he must keep the peace this weekend. Meanwhile, the chief priests and the Jewish elders have decided they have to silence this Jesus before there is a revolution. If they allow this to continue, there is going to be a bloody battle between Roman soldiers and the local people, and many innocent people will be killed. The chief priest's comfortable lifestyle and arrangement with the Roman authorities is also threatened. And besides, they can't have someone claiming to be the Son of God, can they? They send spies into the crowd to find someone to betray Jesus. And they spread the word that all loyal subjects should call for Jesus to be crucified. They are planning how to have Jesus arrested. So let's listen now to Matthew's gospel to hear what we know happens next.